Righto, so g'day and welcome back. You can see I'm well and truly over the cold. I've still got a tickle in the throat from all that. Never really seem to have shaken that bit off, but for the better part, I feel good. All right, so what I'm getting at with all this stuff about your credit cards is that you need to get rid of the credit card debt, and the way to do that is to cut them up and throw them in the bin. So step one, cut up every credit card you have and throw them in the bin. Right, and once you've made it past that, then you've got to pay them off. And the way you pay them off is you divest yourself of anything you don't need by selling it. And every cent you get pays off a credit card. So like if you've got one that's 600 and one that's 1,000 and one that's 10 grand, and some of you got way more than that, right? Concentrate on the $600 one, get rid of it, right? So pay the minimum payments on the others and pay out the $600 as quick as you can. Sell something, get rid of it. And the credit card's cut up and you've paid it out, and they'll send you a new credit card. Make sure you cut it up and throw it in the bin. Right, so the 600 one's out of your life. You're never going to see that again. And then you go after the $1,000 one, same thing. So if you've got to sell a few more things, if you've worked out you might have a jet ski sitting around, you can sell it for $1,000 or whatever the hell it is. Get rid of that credit card, sell it, pay out as much as you can into that and pay the minimum payment on the other one. Cut it up, make sure it's gone. If you haven't cut them up, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble, and I need you to cut them things up. Right, so we've killed the credit cards and now we're killing the debt. So this is what all this has been leading up to, is every cent you got, pay out part of the credit. Keep paying it into the credit card as much as you can pay in there. Don't leave the food off the table because you're paying credit cards. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying pay your bills, pay all that stuff, but pay your credit card out as quick as you can. Now, if you don't know how to do that, then I recommend you go get some counsel on how to set up a budget. Because what you do is you set up a sinking fund for each of your bills. And I've done a little series on how to do a personal budget, but I haven't sort of completed that yet to this point, and I will complete that. So if you want to watch that series as well, it's all part of this, get yourself turned around and get yourself in a positive cash flow position. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate your credit card debt. If you've made it this far, by now you've paid out the credit cards, you've paid out as many of the credit cards as you can, you've worked out that you're never going to have another one, and every spare cent you've got over and above your day-to-day living is paying, and you're going without. Right, some of the stuff now you're going without. So maybe you've got 3 Xboxes, maybe there's 1 Xbox and the kids have to share it, right, instead of the 3. Maybe you've got an Xbox, PlayStation, and well, you pick one, sell the others, right? That's the way it works, because they don't need 3 of those things. They don't even, in my place, they wouldn't even have one of them, right? They wouldn't even have one of them. The reason is because there's a beautiful wide world out there. Go explore it with your kids. You'll be amazed at how much money you will save just by taking your kids to the park and kicking a footy around in the afternoons, or throwing a baseball, or playing soccer, or whatever the hell you do. You gotta live within your means, and if that means that you do healthy activities, even better. I recommend you take the kids to the park for an afternoon of catch or throw around football, whatever you do, kick the footy about. If you've got 4 sporting clubs, well, maybe that becomes 1, right? So if you've got football and you've got basketball and you've got swimming, and we'll pick one, because we can't afford all them sports, mate. And when we get a bit better, then we'll pick something else if you don't like that, or we'll bring something else back in. But pick one. And so instead of, for the girls, it's the netball or the basketball or the gymnastics or whatever, the dancing. If you've got ballet going off left, right and centre, I know ballet lessons are really expensive. I do know that. I've never done it myself, and I never put people, but I know that dancing lessons are expensive. And if you're going to dancing lessons, well, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you move the furniture out of the road and you put the music on and you give it a go from what you can learn on YouTube. Look, until you get yourself on your feet, you've got to do what you've got to do. You've got to tighten the belt. You've got to save money wherever you can, and you've got to pay them credit cards out. Now, if you got to a point where all you got is one left, okay, and maybe it's a 10 grand, that's the big one. What you've got to do then is you've got to go see your bank manager. And this is where I said to you in the very first video, introduce yourself to the bank manager, right? Now, if you haven't done that, make yourself known to the bank manager. Tell him that, look, I'm looking to set up a personal loan, and what you've got to do is swap that credit card into a personal loan, right? So what you're going to say to him is, look, I have cut the credit cards up. You'll be able to see, because I've got a bit, you know, I've actually set up a slush fund well, okay. If you followed my personal budget one, you will have set up a slush fund account and you're putting away $10 a week into it, right? And then, you know, sort of $10 becomes 20. As you can afford more money to go into that, you put it in there, and you don't skimp on that. Every week you put that in. So if it's only $20 a week or $5, whatever it is, even if it's $2 a week, they're not going to mind. They'll take your $2 and loan it to someone at 500% interest. They won't care. So long as they can see you've got a savings habit and your savings are going up every week, and you've got this discipline, they're gonna want to lend you more money. They're going to want to help you. So your bank manager will probably set up a personal loan for you. And he'll want you to, and take your credit cards with, like, take the ones you paid out as well. So, well, we had this one, it's gone, there it is, it's paid out. Here's another one, this was $1,000, we paid that one out, and we cut those credit cards up. And here's the big one, and you can see we've paid this down, it was 15, we've now got it down to about 12. You know, and we're paying it as best we can, but that interest is killing us and we need a better deal. And that's what you're saying to him, we're paying it, we can afford it, because we're paying it, but we want a better deal on the interest, and we'd rather pay you as a personal loan. And look him in the eye, tell it to him straight, and be straight up. He wants to make sure that you can pay that money back, because he's not going to give you a bean if you can't pay it back. And be presentable, do your hair, take the missus, take the kids, make sure they don't tear his office apart, and be tidy about it. When you do the appointment, he's got to see that you know you've got real incentive to get yourself out of it. And once you show it, he'll want to help you. And once he does that, your whole life turns around. Your whole life. I kid you not, we did it. We got to the point where we had one left that had 10 grand on it. And we went and saw the bank manager, and he knew we were in trouble. He knew the business was in trouble. He knew everything was in trouble. I said to him, look, all I got left is this $10,000, and I'm closing the business down. You can see all that. But I need to shift this interest out of credit card interest into a personal loan. And he bent over backwards to get us through, and he got us a loan, and that helped us. That got us out of trouble. I can't tell you the feeling I can't tell you the feeling. You've got to experience it. And you get yourself into this habit of good habits. You've made a good decision, now do the good thing. Oh, I can't do that, do it anyway, right? I can't cut my credit cards up. Do it anyway. See what happens. You just start going without a few things. You don't go without food. Don't worry about that. Someone will feed you, right? That'll happen. You start living out of the cupboard. That's what we did. We lived out of the cupboard, and we're doing that now. We're living out of the cupboard. You'd be amazed at what you'd find in your cupboard to make a feed with. Look on YouTube. There's plenty of things. There's actually YouTube videos that show you how to live out of the cupboard. Look it up. I'm not kidding. You do what you need to do to get yourself free. Now, if you're at this point, man, I can't tell you what it feels like. You've got to experience it. And if you've experienced it where you've handed over that last payment and you've now converted that credit card into a personal loan, you're just going to feel like you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Suddenly you've got this plan. And the plan is everything. The plan is everything. Stick to it. Don't make that good decision, commit to it, and then do it. And do it anyway, right? Stay with it and keep swinging at it and get rid of it. I can't tell you just what it means. Well, I can. I've told you what it means. I've told you exactly what it means. It means that we reduce inflation. It means that we reduce our national debt. Our balance of payments improves. The economy becomes cash positive. And when your economy is cash positive, it attracts investment and wealth instead of debt and borrowing and foreign debt to fill the void because no one wants to lend locally and domestically. I can't tell you what it means. Billions of dollars of interest just disappear out of the... No, you're not working for the bank anymore. You're working for yourself. You're putting money in your pocket. I can't tell you what that feels like. You have to experience it. Right. If I've helped you, that was my goal. That was it. Post videos of you cutting your credit cards up. Show me that you've done it. If this has helped you to that point, even if all you've done is cut them up and you've just made this decision, you're on your way. You're doing the right thing. Look for support from positive people. Support is everything. Like, if you see your parents are struggling, they're not where to go because your parents don't know how to do it. Look for support from positive people. Look for your... I don't know, maybe you've got a church, maybe you've got some mates, maybe you've got a mate that knows how to do it. I'm telling it to you like it is. Come here. If there's nowhere else you can get support, watch this video again. Reaffirm your decision. You're going to get criticised. You're going to get people who are going to put crap on you for not going to the bloody thing that you couldn't afford to go to. They're not your friends. Don't worry about them. They'll piss off out of your life. They'll stop being your friend because you're not spending your money with them anymore. And that's the only reason they were your friend, because they liked the fact that you were spending all your money. I can tell you that when I nearly died, and I looked around for all those people I used to spend money with, you know how many people turned up that, I nearly died. If you haven't seen my welcome video, I did die. They brought me back. If you haven't seen my welcome video, get into that and have a look at my situation. You know how many people turned up, of all my mates that could have turned up that weren't overseas, you know how many came? One bloke. And that's what I'm talking about. And that guy, he helped me out and I help him out, and, life's good. It's a good relationship. And if he asks, I'll go. I'll help him. And if I ask, he comes and helps. But there's all sorts of things that's going on. There's all sorts of ways to get yourself into trouble. And there's only one way to get yourself out, and that's to commit to this decision that you've made. Commit to it. Put a little bit away every week. Chuck it into your little slush account. Make sure you both have to sign, and you've both got to walk into the bank to sign it. And get that account going so that the bank manager, when you're sitting in front of him, he can see you've got this savings habit and you're putting a little bit away. And, it might have a little bit in it now. It might have $500-600 in it. And it's earning interest, and suddenly you've got a bit of collateral and you've got a little bit of credibility. And credibility is the best collateral. It's the best collateral. And people will want to help you because they can see you trying. Don't be an idiot. Don't go backwards. Do not do it. I can't tell you the amount of strife you get into when you let your guard down. So, if this has helped you, just post a little, yes, this helped. Thank you. That's it. And let's get 200,000 or 300,000 of you that we've gotten rid of the credit card. If we've got 200,000 people with a $10,000 debt, let's do it. 200,000, 10,000. It's $2 billion. 200,000, 10,000. Let's do it. 2 billion. $2 billion off our national debt. It's a no-brainer. And I've shown the impact that would have on inflation. 12% less a year, 12% less inflation. It's a no-brainer, folks. You know, you're going to change. Your neighbours are going to see the change in you, and they're going to want it. They're going to want to know. And tell them, send them in. Tell them, spread the word. If we kill the credit cards, we get rid of so much problems, so much. And we should never have had them. We should like in my day when I was growing up, my mum and dad didn't have credit cards because they didn't exist. You know, they just didn't exist. And we went without a lot of stuff, as I said. And I'm none the worse for that. I quite admire my mum for getting us through and getting us to where we are. Righto. I'm going to sign off. Post your comments below. You know, like you're full of shit, fine, whatever. But if this has helped you, post a link to the video of you cutting take photos of it. Take videos of you cutting your credit cards up. Get those scissors out, cut them up, and take video of you doing it. And whenever you get tempted, get the video out of you cutting your credit cards up and watch it. Because I'll tell you, you felt good, didn't you? You felt good. I can't describe the feeling. You have to do it. But get on with it. Keep swinging. I'm out of here. See ya. But just as a wrap up on Kill the Credit Cards, if you've got to the end of this and you've done it, you're in a place right now that everything's been lifted off your shoulders. It's a wonderful feeling, and I can't describe this feeling to you. You need to experience it. You've followed the advice of these videos, and what you've done is you've got it down to one credit card, and you've gone in and seen the bank manager and you've converted that to a personal loan, right? And if you didn't manage to do that, then what you've got to do is just chuck it into that credit card until you get rid of it, and keep chucking it in there. But you've got to do the same thing to the personal loan. So if you've got the interest rate down and got yourself a personal loan, chuck it into the personal loan as quick as you can. Get rid of that thing. Because the debt is the problem. The debt's the problem. And you've got to get yourself out of debt. Once you're out of debt, then everything that you've been chucking into the credit cards, you're chucking it into the bank, right? You're chucking it into the bank. Now, if you got a mortgage, take half of it and chuck it into the mortgage. So chuck half into the bank, half into the mortgage, and start getting rid of the mortgage. I can't tell you how good it feels to get completely out of debt. And that's where we are. We are completely out of debt. Okay. I owe the government for the training. That's something that was necessary to get me to the next goal. And I'll get rid of that as quick as I can. And no one's knocking on my door for that money, right? That's the good thing about that scheme. There's no one knocking on the door to say you need to pay that back. That's the nature of that scheme. It's a great scheme, and I think it works. In some countries, you can get educated for free. Here, you've got to pay for your education, and that's fine. I think you respect it. If you've paid for it, you respect what you've achieved. It's hard, you know. You start and embark on this career, this adventure, with all this massive debt, and we just come to accept this thing, you know. And to me, it's a curse. It's the way that you get put under a thumb, and if you can't get out, you stay there. You're under someone. There's always this, what's going on with this guy? You know, what's his finances? And you've got to disclose. You've got to show them where you're at. You know, I've got to tell the government every week where I'm at, right? I've got to do that. You know, things are bad, you know, like I'm living on a government allowance, and I've got all this bullshit that I can't get a job. I don't understand why I haven't got a job. I really don't. But anyway, I haven't. The positive side of it is you've followed this advice. You got yourself to the point where you've now got zero credit card debt. If you've got that personal loan, make sure you're paying it off. Pay it off, pay it off, pay it off. And when you've paid it off, then you're shoveling as much money as you can into the bank account. And where you had a $10,000 credit card, you should now get to a point where you've got a $10,000 bank account. And that's what you use. And when you pull it out of that account, you put it back. So what you do is you set your budget up, get into good savings habits, budget your bills, go through the series I've done on the budget, and you should be doing that concurrently with this anyway. So by now you should be putting away a bit each week for every bill. You should know if you get paid weekly, the first thing that comes out of that is the bills allowance. It goes into the bills account. And the next thing that comes out is the savings, and that goes out. And then if there's a little bit left over, you can treat yourself to something. And that's how it works. And you, if you forego the treat, well, then it goes into the savings, which is great. You get more for later. If you build that thing up to over 10 grand, there's 10,000 bucks in your bank account. We'll talk about that. I guess if you've got $10,000 in a bank account, you need to go talk to someone who's good at financial advice, because the bank's not giving you anything like what you could be earning on that money, right? But pick carefully. It's a bear feeding. It's like you're like a salmon, and there's bears out there waiting to swatch you out of the air and take your money and run. And that's what happened to us. We lost everything. There's lots of shonks. It's a minefield. Like there's investment brokers. There's also the safest bet is property. The safest bet is to start thinking about going into property. But don't go collectively with one of these big mobs. Don't do that, because they'll take your money and they'll run. And that's happened to a number of my mates. It's happened to us. You got to do the wise thing. And if you don't know, just leave it in the bank. The safest place for it's in the bank, right? It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be there when you need it. But you should always have 10 grand in a bank account somewhere, and a minimum of 5 grand in it. 5 grand's a good number to have in a bank account somewhere. And then you should be looking at stock market, and you should be looking at, blue chip investments. And even that's not a guarantee, because the stock market crashes and all sorts of stupid shit happens. But for the most part, once you're cash positive, you can make good decisions about what you do with it. You might invest it in a business. You might have a business idea, and you might start something up. But make sure you've got good financial advice. Make sure if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Trust your gut. Don't trust the advisor. Trust your gut. Look, I want to congratulate you. I want you to post down the bottom, that you did it, that you got there. If I can see 200,000 comments under this that says, we did this, and we are now 0 credit cards. We have 0 credit cards. If you've got to that point, you've contributed to lowering inflation. You've contributed to lowering the national debt. You've done something amazing, and it's an achievement, right? And I congratulate you for doing it. And we've helped you, and that was my goal. That was my goal. And it feels good to me that I was able to get to that point with you. It's me giving back. This is one of the most important little videos ever. And I want to congratulate you, and I want you to be good, and I want you to put money away now. Put the money away, put half in the bank, half into the mortgage, half into the bank, half into the mortgage, half into the bank, half every month, every week, half into the bank, half into the mortgage, whatever the numbers are. Once you got rid of the mortgage, bank, 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 in no time at all, you'll be in a position where you can buy another property, a rental property. Why? This is what I'm saying to you. Rental properties are great because, you don't have to charge exorbitant rents and you can help out somebody else, Someone's doing that for us, the bloke that owns this place, the rent's affordable. And if it wasn't here, we'd be God knows where, living out of a car. We'd be living out of whatever we can afford. And, if that's a tent, then that's a tent. That's where we'd be. I congratulate you. You've made it. You've done it. And don't forget, post below. Yes, this works. Do it. Go for it. Cut the credit cards up. Link to the video if you're chopping them up. If I can see 200,000, yes, we did it. Yes, we got rid of 10 grand. Yes, we got rid of $60,000. Some of them are, some of you've got 5 credit cards with 10 grand each on them, and they're going to keep sending you credit cards. Keep cutting them up. Don't be tempted. Don't go backwards. You're going to get offers for loans. You don't. None of it. All you're interested in is getting that money in the bank as quick as you can get it in the bank now. Get rid of your mortgage. Get the money in the bank. Get rid of the mortgage. Get the money in the bank. There might be a point where you've got money in the bank and the mortgage payout number, and you can just go and do it, because all that money that you were paying to the mortgage, you can now put in the bank. You know what I'm saying? Don't, for Christ's sake, go get another mortgage while you're paying a mortgage. Don't do that. Get rid of the mortgage. It's worth considering, if you've got a rental property, that you do it as a mortgage. That's something a financial advisor should talk to you about. It's worth considering because you can positive gear it and you can get a bit of an income out of it and pay off your mortgage. So basically the rent pays the mortgage. And there's all sorts of places that you can get that happening. There are all sorts of positive gearing property deals that you can get into. But don't go see a shonk. Make sure that it feels right here, because once you've got money, people are going to start wanting it. Once you got it, there's going to be sharks and minnows all coming for it. You got to protect it. You got to make sure that it's right. Okay, we didn't. We lost. Something was terrible, really terrible. You guys, congratulations. Congratulations, you've really done something. I'm going to sign this off. Make good decisions, do good things. Make good decisions, do good things. Make good decisions, do good things. Keep swinging. See you at the next one.